So if you're an endurance athlete, a swimmer, cyclist, runner, chances are at some point you'll have some sort of nagging, something or other that will put you on the sidelines for a brief or maybe extended time. And it might be just kind of an ache or pain. It might be something a little bit more serious. So what if you could prevent that? What if somebody who's experienced that before could tell you what to do so that you're better set up to not experience stuff like that? Okay, so stick around for the next few minutes. I'm going to tell you my journey and going to save you some time and money. Okay, so if we haven't met before, my name is Alexis. I'm the founder of the Endurance Hub. I am a Pilates instructor and trainer. I'm also an avid cyclist and swimmer. And long before I was that, I was a competitive equestrian. So I used to ride horses. I would jump fences and all that as a kid. And I had no idea about how to take care of my own body. It was all about the horse. And here's where there's a similarity between people who ride horses and endurance athletes. So when I was a kid, I was told that the more you fall off, the better rider you'll become. So I was totally stoked every time I got bucked off or thrown into a fence or whatever, and I just get right back on. And so how many of us as endurance athletes, we don't necessarily like to crash, but we focus on volume, right? If we just ride more, if we just swim more, if we just run more, just log up those miles and get those PRs, we'll be better, we'll be faster, we'll be fitter. And it works until it doesn't. Because of course we need to do these sports to get better at them, but we need to, especially as we get older, focus on quality. And we need to support ourselves outside of our sports with strength. Most importantly, core strength. So let's go ahead and fast forward a few years from when I was a kid getting bucked off and thrown off into fences and stuff. And in my 20s, I no longer rode horses, so I turned to other things for fun and I started running. And again, for me, it was just all about running more, ramping up that mileage. And again, it worked until it didn't. And I found myself at 29 sidelined by a very painful low back injury. So I had a bulged disc and what they call degenerative disc disease, which is not really disease, it's part of just basically getting older. But I was really young to be having so much pain. I mean, I literally couldn't sit at my desk without being in tears. And so I had to face this reality of, is this going to be the rest of my life? Am I ever going to be active again? And this is the kind of injury that I thought maybe you would face in your 50s. And here I was 29 years old. So for me, that meant making some adjustments, and I turned to cycling, which of course was less compressive on my spine. That was fine, but I still needed to do the work to strengthen my core. And what I thought core strength was in my 20s was it just a bunch of crunches and trying to get those six-pack abs. And once I found Pilates, I realized, oh, whoa, it's more than that. You know, we've got to go deeper, find these muscles that we never knew existed. And so here I am 14 years later, feeling stronger and fitter than I was in my 20s and no longer in that pain cycle. But I still have to do the work consistently. So that's why I am on this mission to help other endurance athletes avoid the mistakes that I made. Because wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to go through what I did? So I've distilled what works for me, which is taking these principles that I learned as a Pilates instructor, applying them to certain core strength exercises, and I've found a method that works for me and also my clients, and I call it the FAST method. So instead of just jumping into a bunch of exercises, first you've got to find your core. You've got to know what muscles to use. Otherwise, it's your neck, your low back, your hip flexors all just kind of taking over. Next, after that, after we find our core, we have to activate it. And that is through specific ways of breathing, because our core muscles are actually also our breathing muscles. So once we do these two things, then we are ready to strengthen our core, and we've got to be consistent. So if you followed along, that's find your core, activate your core, strengthen your core 3 times a week, the FAST method. So these are, my guiding principles that I distill and I include into my method of teaching and every single core strength workout. And it works for other time crunched or time starved endurance athletes, just like you and me. So I have a whole course on how to find your core, but you know what? I've distilled it into just a quick 4-minute video to give you a taste, and it's yours for free. So if you want to know how to find your core so that you can actually access these muscles that you are going to need if you want to continue to do the sports that you love to do for a long time, just go ahead and comment below, say you want it, and I will send it right over to you.